Hey guys, so I got another idea very quickly for another video. Originally I wanted to stick to once a week for these videos, but I guess the channel is growing, I'm reaching more people and more people are reaching out to me, and had another one of those conversations where it just wasn't registering, and there was only so much I could say. So I took a step back and I started thinking about the big picture and the fact that I'm sure a lot of people have this same concern and these same questions that I was getting. And I was thinking about overall advice that I could give to everyone. So, I had a young lady tell me how she is treated as a disabled person and how she wishes she could be normal and how her life would be different if she was. Disclaimer: there is no such thing as normal. The people whose lives you think are perfect are not. But specifically for the disabled community, we're very dependent, not even just physically, but mentally. We're collectively, so many of us, even unconsciously, in little aspects of life, are looking for somebody to do for us or for permission to do things. And we're 20, 30, 50 years old, still waiting for permission to live, to be happy, to love ourselves, to be enough. Stop waiting for the permission. Stop waiting for other people to accept you. That's not going to happen until you accept yourself. It's just not. Not in a relationship, not in a family dynamic, especially in a codependent one where people have taken your cue on how to treat you. Where they look over you, they don't ask you what you think, what you want, and your life pretty much revolves around what they want and what they can do for you. Chances are you've been told that you can't live without them. My best advice is to try. My advice is to start living. I'm not saying to cut everybody off and go live a new life somewhere. What I'm saying is check in with yourself first. Before you say, oh, I wonder if I can do this, or I wonder if so-and-so will let me do that. If you're of age, go do it. If you absolutely can't do it by yourself, go with a friend. Don't go with somebody you're constantly asking for permission to live. I'll never forget one of the pivotal moments in my life where I felt like I wanted freedom the most was in elementary school. I had my aide with me, literally at all times. She would be across the cafeteria while I was eating. And if I'm talking with my friends, she would motion to eat. And I'm like, bitch, what are you, my mother? And it always made me strive to be as independent as possible so that I didn't need an aid. And I realized that some people do need help with many things. but learn boundaries. You have to learn boundaries, because just because you need help with, let's say, getting in and out of a building or a house, or getting in and out of a bathtub, or help on the toilet, or even help cooking your meals, doesn't mean you need help to think, to speak up for yourself, to feel a certain way. Don't let other people make you feel a certain way about life, about other people. You're wanting to blame other people for holding you back, but you don't have to get their permission. You're waiting for permission that's probably not going to show up, especially in controlling situations. And it could be not necessarily a toxic situation, it could just be a well-meaning, afraid caretaker or parent or whatever. But sometimes it is toxic, as I've learned from talking to certain people. There's certain people who like that control, and it's sick. They should not be in charge of anybody with a disability. But in the end, it's up to you to break out of that cycle, to break out of that habit of being so afraid of what somebody else is going to think, or what somebody else's expectation is of you, or lack thereof. That's not fair to you to live like that. And I realize already, with limited conversations I've been having, that that's a lot easier said than done. People are not going to just take that advice and run or wheel with it, because chances are this is nothing new for you. Especially if you're born with a disability, you've literally, if you're, like I said before, 20, 30, even 50, you've been conditioned long before YouTube even existed, long before you and I even knew each other, especially if we actually do know each other and you're watching this. So chances are nothing I say is even going to register and help. But I hope that it does, because you deserve more than what you're settling for. You. Not anybody else. What you're settling for. And that's hard to hear, because chances are you feel helpless, unable, and like you need somebody. But you have to take a step back and ask yourself, how much of that has been put into your head by somebody else? Have you tried things that you are told you can't do? This is something that's way too common in the disabled community, and I think if collectively we can break free from it and help those that are struggling with it, those of us who know what it is to do, even those of us who know what to do and aren't even doing it. There's stages to this. I don't even know I'm in a bad cycle. Then there's complete freedom, but then there's all of this in between. You can have complete freedom, regardless of whatever disability that you have. Like I said many times before, like I said in the last video, it's all in here. And the first thing that you need to do is clear out everybody else's expectations, worries, anxieties, negative emotions, projections, all of it. That's not yours. But you've adopted and you've heard probably for so long that you think it's yours. But it's not. You might agree with it because you've heard it for so long, but I'm here to show you the other side of it. You don't have to have low self-esteem. You don't have to have low self-worth. You don't have to think that you can't do anything that you want. You don't have to think that people, I'm sorry, this one always trips me up, because for people with such low self-worth, a lot of disabled people think a lot of themselves, that everybody's staring and everybody's looking at them and everybody's talking about them because of their disability or whatever. Chances are nobody cares. Chances are people have their own shit that they gotta deal with. And that's one more thing that I'll try to end on. As you grow up, you have less and less free time. So you also have to, before you allow yourself to get to that place in your head where you're like, oh my god, nobody wants to hang out, nobody wants to do this or that, or I'm a burden. I've talked about that a million times on my channel, about not being a burden, because you're not. Chances are, in adulthood, people are just more, they're busier. There's less free time. And you need to stop comparing your life to theirs too. Because when they're busy, chances are it could be because they have a spouse, kids, and it's your fault if you think you're never gonna have that. It's not theirs. Just because you're jealous that somebody has something that you currently don't have, all you have to do is switch that switch in your head and realize that you can have it too. And stop feeling sorry for yourself. Because then you'll never have it. As long as you think that people are going to feel this way about you, or nobody's going to want somebody, like I said this in the last video, but I'm going to keep repeating it, I don't care. As long as you think you can't have something, you're never going to have it. As long as you think you can't change your life because it's in the control of somebody else, you're never going to change your life. So you have to change your mind. You have to change what you do. Nobody else. And we're all guilty of it on some level. We're all guilty of bitching about what so-and-so did or said, or how such and such made us feel. But when it becomes such a habitual pattern where you're like, I literally cannot live because I haven't given myself the permission to do so, and I'm waiting for somebody else to give it to me, that's dangerous. That's very, very dangerous. Especially if you battle depression. Or if you're even prone to it, because that will skyrocket you, freaking dive you right into it. And then you're going to have to overcome that before you even overcome the shit that is the rest of your life. So, that's my message for today. You could start small. Sorry, dogs are barking. You could start small. You don't have to completely do an upheaval of your entire life in one day, 1 week, 1 month. But start changing the way that you think. And then start changing little things that you do. And surprise yourself. And don't forget to actually have fun. Because that's something that we all struggle with sometimes. Especially, you know, if money's tight or whatever, we deprive ourselves. And you need to have fun. And if you don't think that you can have fun, just rewatch this video, because everything that I said about everything else stands just for that too. I do offer one-on-one sessions if anybody needs more help than just watching me on YouTube. All the links for that are in the description. All of my social media is in the description. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.